Thank you for being with us tonight. This meeting has been brought to you in part by
Let Grand Forks International Airport help you start your next vacation off on the right foot. Grand Forks International Airport offers flights to the sunny destinations of Orlando, Las Vegas, and Phoenix on Allegiant, and connections anywhere in the world through Minneapolis-St. Paul on Delta. Forget the hassle of long drives, parking nightmares, and stressful check-ins. The convenience of flying locally means less headaches and more time for you. Grand Forks International Airport, your airport, simply grand.
Know what's in this box? Well, in case your crystal ball is broken, here's a hint. Safe, reliable energy, for starters, but there's also a commitment to this community. See, at Xcel Energy, this is our hometown. So we're not just about making a living here, we're about living here. Oh, I wish I had wings.
In our community, we're always delivering. Xcel Energy, responsible by nature.
Chris Young, live, Raised on Country Tour.
I was raised on country.
October 3rd, Alaris Center. Chris Young, hit after amazing hit.
And tonight I'm drowning.
With special guests, Eli Young Band and Matt Stell. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com or ticketmaster.com. Chris Young, Raised on Country Tour.
Weigel. Here. Doppler. Here. Weber. Mock. Here. Marshall. Here. Sandy. Here. Bean. Here. Brown. Here. We have a quorum.
All right. Item number 2 then is JDA action items, public hearing.
Startup loan request, ASR LLC.
Good evening. This request before you is our 6th Startup Grand Forks loan request. It is from ASR LLC. It's a startup design distribution company, produces aftermarket products for UTVs. The first of which is an example is up on the screen there. I'll turn it over to Brandon Bombach with the EDC to go over the particulars.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, members of the JDA. Brandon Bombach, Business Development Manager with the Grand Forks Region EDC. I too was going to highlight that it's the this would be the 6th Startup Grand Forks program or loan made in just over 2 years, which accommodates to a $70,000 loans out the door from your authority, leveraging $35,000 from the Bank of North Dakota or North Dakota Development Fund, and another $35,000 in equity. So that's $140,000 in investments from startup companies over the past couple of years, which I think is really exciting and worth celebrating. Great companies, just like this company here, ASR. As you can see, The product itself is actually the roof, the cab component of that Polaris Ranger. And so this company is getting started on this product, but has aims for many more products. It features a built-in curved light bar, box lights, overhead center console with a dome light. So what this money in this project would be helping to do is Paul Carlson, who's the entrepreneur, it would help him make some of the initial purchases, which includes 100 plastic roofs to be manufactured by the Twin Cities, but then come to Grand Forks alongside some wire harnesses from a different source, metal frames, lights, and then the assembly would take place in Grand Forks before being sold to a combination of end users and also dealerships. So this project cost to do that is just about $40,000, $39,800, and the request in front of you as an authority is for $19,900, which would then leverage the North Dakota Development Fund's contribution of $9,950 and the same contribution amount from the owner as equity. This would be structured as a 5-year loan with the first year deferred as the program has dictated. It meets all program requirements. It has been approved per the process by our loan committee. It has been approved by the North Dakota Development Fund, and it has been approved by the Growth Fund just a couple weeks ago on August 19th. As in addition to this, Paul is a part of the Innovate ND program. So he's the kind of entrepreneur the state sees a lot of promise in and support. So I'm happy to answer any questions on this application, and so is Paul, who's in the audience here tonight.
Okay, are there any questions? So we need to open the public hearing on this item. So I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody who would like to come forward and talk about it? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Is there any further questions or a motion? Motion by Brown, second by Sandy. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Then we'll go on to item 3.
3.1 is the JDA annual report.
Okay. Ms. Conlon?
Yes, we have, Maureen, is this one with the EDA RLF semi-annual report as well?
Okay,
Are they
we have
two
those
separate?
2 reports for us?
Okay, yep, it's just 2 standard JDA annual report and then the EDA RLF semi-annual report. Just standard reports to receive and file, unless you have any questions.
Okay, we'll take both those together. Do you want to read the second one off?
So that would be 3.1 is read, JDA annual report, along with 3.2 of the EDA RLF semi-annual report.
Okay, we have both those before. Any other questions? Do you have a motion to receive and file? Moved by Sandy, seconded by Marshall. All those in favor of the motion say aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now can I have a motion to adjourn? Again, Brown and Marshall. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.
The City of Grand Forks proud home of the University of North Dakota City Council meeting Tuesday, September 3rd, 2019 is hereby called to order. Welcome and roll call.
Weigel.
Here.
Doppler. Weber. Mock. Marshall. Sandy. And Veen. We have a quorum.
Thank you. At 1.2 the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone please stand and face the flag. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I think it's good to reaffirm the values that we hold dear. So 1.3 under Mayor's announcements. Tomorrow is the longest table at the university on the University Avenue. There are still seats available, so please contact us and see what we can do to make that arranged. And then on Wednesday, that's Wednesday. Then Thursday
is take over the Greenway with the band, Tim Mahoney, and I understand Tim Mahoney, the mayor of Fargo, is going to introduce them and maybe do a duet, so that should be exciting. And then we have Grand Forks Pride Barbecue on Friday. Encourage everyone to attend. And with that, we go to awards, presentations, appointments, and proclamations, 2.1.
Proclamation, Ally Borgen Smile Wide Day.
So, proclamation, Ally Borgen Smile Wide Day, September 5th, 2019, and in perpetuity. Whereas Ally Borgen was diagnosed with leukemia at the age of 10 and ultimately lost her battle with this terrible disease. Ally and her mother Karen, her father Richard, and her brother Dylan battled her disease as a family, as friends, and as role models, demonstrating the best of what people can be. Ally Borgen showed as much courage as anyone, child or adult, ever could, and in 14 years gave as much care and love as someone with 80, 90 or more years to give. Her generous nature could not be daunted, routinely redirected compassion toward her brother and her family, showing she realized how much they loved her and letting them know how much she loved and appreciated everything they did for her. In January of 2011, Ally, as Pippi Longstockings, and her father, as an unforgettable Shrek, held a party for more than 1,000 friends, family, and community members to raise thousands of dollars for cancer research, but more importantly, to spend the day celebrating, dancing, and laughing and enjoying each other. Ally proves that every person, no matter their age, has the ability to control their own attitude and can have a lasting impact on people by treating them with dignity, compassion, and strength of heart. Our community is blessed to have had the opportunity to know Ally and carries her indelible reminder that despite the setbacks we face, despite the heartbreaks we sustain, and despite the losses we suffer, we must smile wide every day. So now I, Michael Brown, Mayor of Grand Forks, North Dakota, in memory of the courageous and generous spirit of Ally Borgen and in honor of the lessons she taught us about how to get the most out of each and every day, do hereby proclaim September 5th in the year 2019 and in perpetuity as Smile Wide Day in the city of Grand Forks. Thank you. Item 4, action items. Who would like action items pulled for discussion? I will pull 4.1.
Mayor Brown?
Yes.
Don't we have to pull every item since they weren't at the committee of the
Then
whole?
we will pull every item. Thank you, Mr. Sandy. So we're going to pull every item. Action items number 4.1.
Noisy Party Ordinance Discussion.
Discussion on noisy party. Mr. Weigel, would you like to start?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll start off by Ms. Dockler and I had a great turnout for our Ward 1 and 2 combined meeting the other week. And a lot of the discussion focused on potential changes to the noisy party ordinance. And based off what I counted, there was a lot of support for that to address some issues within Ward 1 and Ward 2. So I do have a couple questions for Mr. Swanson regarding the ordinance as it's written in the staff report that we have. The way it's written, would the second violation be considered a B misdemeanor?
Mr. Swanson.
Mayor Brown, members of council, Mr. Weigel. I would like to have the opportunity to work on that drafted ordinance, so I'm asking this council tonight to provide me any directions or comments you may have about it. I'm a little bit concerned about the draft. I don't quite know where this came from. It did not come from our office. So as far as if you would like to have the opportunity to increase the penalty for a subsequent offender, you may have that authority to do so. It's not one that you have to take advantage of. You could keep all offenses as an infraction. I can provide you pros and cons either way, but it is an option that you would have to include as a penalty for the municipal court to consider if you have a habitual or repeated offender.
Perfect. So basically, as I understand it tonight, it's essentially we pulled this to ask the council if this is something they want to push forward with, and then you'd come back with the drafted ordinance.
If I could have my way, I would like to bring it back to a committee of the whole meeting with the draft so that you would have something to work from. Perfect.
Further comments, Mr. Sandy?
Do you need a motion to do that, to refer it back, or just a general consensus?
I think a general consensus with a motion to table pending report from the city attorney would be appropriate.
I would like to see that, but I won't make the motion unless others want to speak to that.
Anyone else wish to speak?
I would like to see that happen as well. I understand that there is a new law that was passed by the North Dakota legislature that took effect August 1 that may impact the language in this ordinance as well relative to third offenses. And while I may be wrong on that, I'd like to make sure that that gets addressed if it needs to be.
Mr. Swanson.
Mayor Brown, members of council, as I understand the discussion, then you would like me to draft an ordinance which would change the current penalty to an infraction, meaning it is an offense that is not punishable by any jail, and the fine is reduced or limited. It would also, from the discussion to this point, would include an increased penalty for a repeat offender within the period of time as provided by statute. And I can provide that draft. I don't know that I'd have it ready for Monday's cow, but I'd have it for certain for the following cow.
Mr. Swanson, I just ask that you also include, if we could keep in the fact that if somebody fails to disperse after being told to by law enforcement, I'd like to make sure that is still a Class B misdemeanor.
All right, thank you.
That's important to keep in there. And Mayor, I do know we have some people in the crowd that may like to speak to this as well.
Would anyone like to address the council on the noisy party issue ordinance? Please come forward and state your name for the record, please. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Peggy Lucky. I live at 514 Harvard Street. I am right in the middle of a lot of social activity that is disruptive to a peaceful coexistence, and really appreciate the time and effort that Councilman Weigel and Councilman Dackler have given to the citizens of our ward in discussion about that. We really need action quickly if that's possible. We, living in that district, we as citizens, as property owners and taxpayers, feel like we don't get the full advantage of police coverage that the rest of the city does, because the university police can't write the kind of citations that would be more prohibitive maybe to recurring kinds of activities. And so this accommodation would be very appreciated, and I think it would go a long way to help those of us who do live in that area. And another thing we discussed at that meeting with our council persons is just rental properties in general, and the state of those properties, inspection of those properties, over occupancy in those. And so hopefully there'll be some discussion about that in the future too. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Swanson.
Mayor Brown, members of council, I want to clarify my earlier comment. The draft that is in your packet is not a current draft. It does not incorporate the changes. So when I said it wasn't drafted by our office, I meant that the new updated draft would not be reflective of current law. So.
Thank you. Motion. Mr. Weigel, second. Mr. Sandy, to table. Okay, motion table to the cow. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries. Thank you. 4.2.
Request for Class 3 on and off sale beer and wine alcoholic beverage license for BPC Grand Forks LLC, doing business as Boss Pizza and Chicken. We have received in our finance department application for this license along with application fee, and there's a representative here from Boss Pizza and Chicken if anybody has any questions of them. Otherwise, we would look for a motion tonight to approve pending approval of the various departments.
Thank you. Mr. Sandy motions to approve pending approval. Mr. Vian seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries. Thank you. 4.3.
Amendment number 1 to engineering services agreement for project number 7642, interim sanitary lift station number 45, Opportunity Park.
Mr. Grasser.
Thank you, Mayor, members of City Council. As stated, this is an amendment for the engineering services. Interim lift station number 45 is in the Opportunity Park area. That's one of the identified strategic infrastructure growth areas. Remember that's south of 32nd Avenue South, west of the interstate. And the contractor, due to shortages of labor and other things, was behind on the completion of that, which increased some of our engineering costs. So we're applying those liquidated damages to the increased engineering costs that are going with the project. Plus, there's a little bit of extra to cover some of the staff time that was involved in it also.
Thank you. Council comments? Mr. Weigel motions. Second. Mr. Veen. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Award bids and notice to proceed for Project 8067 2019 wastewater treatment plant improvements to chemical room, MBF, recycle pump header piping, and bypass piping.
Welcome. Comments?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. This project was brought before you a few weeks ago. We talked about applying for the loan for this project. It's improvements mostly to the chemical feed area of the wastewater treatment plant. We need to make improvements to the polymer that we use and then add a sodium hydroxide component to the plant so that we can meet our pH limits. We're also working on MBF recycle pipe pumping that's needed as part of our disinfection project. It became aware that we needed to do that. And then we also have modifications to our bypass pipe. There's corrosion actually in the pipe, so we recognize that since we still were doing a project yet this year, we should add that component to it as well. The bids came in within the engineer's estimate, so we're asking to award them tonight based upon the approval by the North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality. So those projects would be awarded to Northern Plains Contracting in the amount of $958,000, and then Fusion Automation in the amount of $70,498.
Thank you. Council action. Mr. Veen motions. Second, Ms. Marshall. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, carries. Thank you. 4.5.
Approve proceeding with purchase through Omnia Consortium contract for project number 8092 Grand Forks Regional Water Treatment Plant furniture.
Again,
Good evening. So this item is just the furniture that we have needed for the actual new water treatment plant. JLG did the design for that project, and we worked with Omni Partners contract through Norby Work Perks, and so we're asking that you approve that tonight in the amount of $90,835.18.
Thank you. Council action. Mr. Weigel motions. Second, Ms. Stockler. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, carries. Thank you. Any introductions to ordinance? Nope. So item 5, informational items. 5.1.
Statement of changes in cash balance as of April 30th.
And then item 6, citizen request. I have Mr. O'Neill wishes to address the council and the community. Please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Tom O'Neill, and if you need to hang a title in front of my name, you can call me Reverend. A number of weeks ago, this council decided to replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day. I want to go ahead and read to you the oath of office you all took, every one of you, before you accepted your office. I state your name of blank, North Dakota, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of North Dakota, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of fill in the blank according to the best of my ability, so help me God, under pains and penalties of perjury. What happened when that happened was an outrage. How dare the City Council of Podunk, North Dakota, vote to replace a national holiday with one of their own? You are all under the right to declare a holiday, but not replace Columbus Day, a national holiday. Now, I grew up in the military. I spent 20 years there. And I know the chain of command. When the general speaks, we jump. when we have a federal holiday that's mandated by the United States government, way and above your authority, I want to know who went ahead and proposed this monstrosity. And I want to know right now, who brought it up to the floor for a vote?
I don't think that's appropriate. I think we heard, listened to your comments, and then we thank you for your service.
Well, I'm not done yet, Mr. Mayor.
No, we're not going to be going back and forth. You have the right
All
to
right,
speak.
well, I'm going to go ahead and press on then.
Please.
That oath of office I just read is taken seriously, and there's a reason that we do it. Leviticus 19:20 states, "You shall not swear by my name falsely." That oath you took was an oath to God. Just like a marriage vow, but we all know how that turns out today. She burns the eggs and you divorce her. He comes home late, she divorces him. All right? Nehemiah 5:12 and 13. Then I called the priests and required an oath from them that they would do according to the promise. Nehemiah cursed them, saying, "May God shake out each man from his house and property who does not abide his oath." And I can go on and on. But one more oath I want to go ahead. When two men made an agreement in the Old Testament times, they took cattle and sheep and doves, and they divided those animals in half. And they spread them out on the ground before them. And each man walked between the remains of these animals, reciting that may the same thing happen to me if I do not abide by my oath. Now, the person who brought this should be removed from this board. And Mayor Brown, I'd like to know where you were. And Mr. Swanson, where were you? I think there was failures on all part. And it has been reported to me that one somebody here said, well, I don't agree with this, but I'm going to vote for it because I don't want to be called a racist. Well, that's not what a racist is. One man once quoted something, the only reason that evil triumphs is when good men do nothing. And I stand before you as a man of God to remind you all of the oath that you took before the Almighty, and know that you will be held accountable for that oath and for breaking it. Now, in the small town that I live, I was elected alderman, and I took my oath very seriously. In fact, when we were drawing up our ordinances, the mayor wanted to go ahead and enact an ordinance stating that we will not fire our guns in city limits. All right? And I said, absolutely not. Suppose you're in defense of your life and property. Suppose you have something breaking into your hen house and stealing chickens. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different scenarios that you could be charged with under law, under that broad of a saying. I fell back on the Constitution for my stand on that one. And I stand on the Word of God. If you go ahead and look at the Constitution, you look at your Bible, you'll find that the two are very closely matched. I want you to let that sink in. In fact, have you ever seen the president sworn in? He lays his hand on the Bible. Do you know what the significance of that is? The significance of that is that he is under the obligation to know what's inside that Bible. That's not just a pretty thing to hold up there. Just like when I took my oath in the military, I will support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Nobody's ever relieved me of that vote, of that oath. As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about it. I thank you for your time.
Thank you for your service. Next
you want to thank me for my service? Don't elect another Bill Clinton or Barack Obama again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7, approve the minutes of Bill 741.
The vendor list and engineer's estimate as presented.
Need a motion second to pay the bills. Mr. Sandy motions. Mr. Vian seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the bills are paid. Item 8, city administrator comments. We have none this evening. Item 9, mayor and council member comments. Councilman Weigel.
Nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilwoman Dockler. And then Ms. Mock. And then Ms. Marshall.
Just to make a quick announcement that we are having a Ward 5 and 6 combined meeting 2 weeks from tonight at 5:30 on Tuesday, the 17th, at Schrader School. The primary issue will be transportation and bridge and related traffic issues in our wards. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vian. Council President Sandy.
Thank you, Mayor.
Under Mayor's comments tonight, we want to say welcome back to the students. Please be aware there are students. Be careful driving to and from school in the morning and the afternoon. Also, the longest table is tomorrow at University Avenue. There are still seats available, so please participate in that. Take Over the Greenway is Thursday. We'll welcome Tim Mahoney, the band, and Tim Mahoney, the mayor, to our community. And the Pride Barbecue is on Friday. So with that, we take a motion to adjourn. Ms. Dockler motions, Mr. Weigel seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us tonight. This meeting has been brought to you in part by
Let Grand Forks International Airport help you start your next vacation off on the right foot. Grand Forks International Airport offers flights to the sunny destinations of Orlando, Las Vegas, and Phoenix on Allegiant, and connections anywhere in the world through Minneapolis-St. Paul on Delta. Forget the hassle of long drives, parking nightmares, and stressful check-ins. The convenience of flying locally means less headaches and more time for you. Grand Forks International Airport. Your airport. Simply grand.
Know what's in this box? Well, in case your crystal ball is broken, here's a hint. Safe, reliable energy, for starters, but there's also a commitment to this community. See, at Xcel Energy, this is our hometown. So we're not just about making a living here, we're about living here. Oh, I wish I had wings.
In our community, we're always delivering. Xcel Energy, responsible by nature.
Chris Young, live, Raised on Country Tour.
I was raised on country.
October 3rd, Alaris Center. Chris Young, hit after amazing hit.
And tonight I'm drowning.
With special guests Eli Young Band and Matt Stell. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com or ticketmaster.com. Chris Young, Raised on Country Tour.